Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sales Dialer Sales Engine training for the day. We'll be starting in just a couple of minutes so as to allow time for those joining us late or from different time zones. And until then, I'd like to provide you a few housekeeping tips for the training session. The session is going to last about 40 minutes, give or take a few, followed by a Q&A session at the end. Parts of the training are pre-recorded, but it is being monitored by a trainer. And during the session, you can ask your questions in the chat box on your screen. And, of course, a live agent will be monitoring that and will be answering all of those questions. Right now, all of the lines are muted so that everybody can hear clearly. And, of course, you can type your questions as we go. You don't have to write anything down if you don't want, but I'll tell you there are a few things, maybe 3 to 5 things that are important that you might want to write down. So you might want to keep a pen and paper handy. At the end of the webinar, we will unmute the lines to answer any questions that you have. And let's go ahead and get things started. The first thing I want to review is the email that you received from us with all of your account credentials, and it would look similar to what you see here on your screen. Some of the pieces of information that you'll have in here, of course, are the training webinar information slots where, of course, you're on a training session right now, so you've got that. We have the DID number, which you will dial into the phone servers. That is this number here. It's a 10-digit phone number where you will call the phone number, enter a 4-digit user ID, 6-digit bridge number, and your password, all followed by the pound sign. You can dial this number through your landline phone, home phone, office phone, even your cell phone. But, of course, the cell phone, you can't get anything for free, so you need to have an unlimited minute plan for that. You can also dial through a soft phone. Some people use Skype, Google Voice. We have our own soft phone, which you can see here on your screen. We have a couple that we use. So a lot of different options to dial there. Then, of course, you'll also have some tips for clearing your cache and cookies with the browser. We'd like for you to use Chrome if you can. And, of course, there is your agent account credentials and your manager account credentials. We're going to be spending most of our time in the agent account. The manager account, there are some things that you can do there. And there are other video tutorials on installing and setting up your soft phone using the manager account. A lot of tutorials available for you to go into more depth on the dialer. But we're going to go into a lot of detail here right now. You can also use Mozilla Firefox. I would not recommend using Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is, frankly, slow and somewhat problematic. So what we're going to go ahead and do is talk about our support options. We've covered the account credentials email. We have several different support options. Up here in the top right-hand corner, we have live chat support. We have telephone support at the bottom. You can see the toll-free number and extension 3. And we have a lot of information on our website, salesdialers.com. We'll review this at the end of the webinar. So let's start at the home screen. Here we have our calendar. All of your appointments and call reminders will show up in the calendar where you can click on a specific day, and you'll see your appointments. You hover over that number, and it turns green. You have this green click-to-call feature throughout the dialer where you can call people on the fly. You can create appointments on the fly by clicking here. Enter in all of your information, email, date, time, notes. Hit done. It will dump that into the calendar. With your calendar, your appointments, your callbacks, all your notifications, you receive a audio and visual notification. I work in multiple screens just like you do, so I always keep my volume up so I can get that notification. You can view different appointments based on date range, where you have the ability to email these appointments to people, or if you have multiple agent dialer accounts underneath your manager account, you can select them and hit send. So here are all appointments for a given date range. Of course, you can also print. You'll see printer icons throughout the dialer. The calendar itself, you can actually synchronize with your Outlook and Gmail calendar. So if you have a smartphone, that means you can take it with you. And the first thing that I'd like to discuss with you which will make more sense as we go, is the 4-step process that you're going to do in order to start making phone calls. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to log into your agent's dialer account. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to go to Calling Campaigns and select List Campaigns. This is where all your campaigns are stored. The third thing you're going to do is you're going to call into the phone servers using that DID number that we discussed right here. You can use your landline phone, or you can use your soft phone, or you can use our soft phone. Then, of course, the third thing you're going to do is you're going to click the play or the resume button. Okay? We'll discuss these steps again throughout the training session. So where we're at right now is we're under campaigns, and a campaign is a list of names that you have all of your information, all your contacts, and appropriate information for those contacts. You can have name, address, height and weight, household income, sales volume, number of employees, anything that you want to upload pertinent to that contact you can. You do that via a campaign. So here you have the ability to press this button to start calling a campaign, resume calling, stop calling, delete, and edit a campaign. But what I want to do right now is I want to show you how easy it is to actually create a campaign. And you can do that by clicking here or over here. Then you will name your campaign, type in a description if you like, be as detailed as you need to be. And then you're going to upload your list of names via an Excel spreadsheet file format known as a Excel CSV file, a comma-separated file, a comma-delimited file. Now, there's a separate tutorial on how to create your CSV file. Essentially, you have your file in Excel like you see on your screen here. It's always a good idea to put headers at the top of your screen describing what's in that column, city, state, zip, as you can see here. And all that's involved is creating a CSV file. So just click File, Save As, and then from the Save As type, you're going to select CSV, comma delimited, as you see here. And sometimes I like to add CSV to the file name. Then, of course, you'll hit Save. Now, you will get a couple of messages here where it's okay to click Yes for those messages. Let me review those once more real quick. The first message, the selected file type does not support workbooks that contain multiple sheets. You're saving the active sheet, which is sheet number 1 down here at the bottom. And then also it may contain features that are not compatible with CSV. Do you want to keep this workbook in format? Yes, you do. Okay? It's just that simple. Hit a file, save as, you have your CSV file. So I'm going to select my CSV file and click Next. In our system, you have the ability to use pre-recorded, on-hold, and answering machine recording messages. In each dialer, we load generic male and female on-hold recordings. I actually have my own personal on-hold recordings. We'll show you how to create yours. There's a tutorial on that. And what's important to remember here, you might want to write this down, is if you are a female using the dialer, you want to use female on-hold recordings. If you are a male using the dialer, you want to use male on-hold recordings. Okay? And the purpose of the on-hold recording is if you're talking to somebody live on line 1 and somebody on lines 2, 3, or 4 pick up the phone, then lines 2, 3, or 4 are going to hear the on-hold recording. The purpose, again, is just to stall them for a few moments. The recordings that we have work very well, regardless of whichever industry that you practice. Frankly, they work so well that some of the other dialers have copied us on it, so I guess emulation is the best form of flattery. You also have the ability to drop a pre-recorded message into somebody's voicemail at the click of a button. You click the play recording button. The system will transfer you to the next live caller and leave that message for you. So essentially, you're continuously talking to live people, which is what you want. A tip here, this is important, you might want to write this down. You always want to wait until you hear the beep to click the play recording button. Okay? This ensures that 100% of your messages are left 100% in their entirety. Wait that extra 5, 6 seconds. Okay? We have a couple features with our system, one of which is auto pause. This is a feature we like our new customers to use because it deliberately slows down the dialer even more so, making sure that you're up to date on typing your notes and hitting your disposition buttons, and you initiate the resuming of the dialing. Okay? So you want to use that to begin with. Let's walk before we run. Enable recording. If you want to record phone conversations for people that you're talking to for training purposes, or if your company uses recordings as applications, click that button. Just make sure you're aware of the laws and regulations in your state. Time zone protection. If you attempt to make a phone call outside of the FTC-regulated calling hours, this will simply stop that call from going through. There's no reason really not to have this box checked. If you're using Microsoft Outlook and you would like your appointment to receive an email reminder with their appointment date and time, click this box. They'll receive that reminder. Caller ID, you can change this to whatever phone number you'd like that person to see on their phone. I would tell you that using a toll-free number when you're dialing consumers is probably not a good idea. You want to use a local area code or a non-toll-free number. There are services out there where you can get those numbers for free or at a nominal cost. That is well worth it. Number of lines, you can call it 1, 2, 3, or 4 lines at a time. Work your way into it. It might be different depending on the campaign you're calling. Phone ring time. I suggest 5 or 6 rings. However, if you're deliberately trying to avoid the answering machines and the voicemails, you want to set that at 4 rings, maybe 3, optimally 4. And if you'd like to send emails to people live while you're on the phone, click this box here. We're going to give you 3 options. You can choose a single email template from your email library, where every time you hit the send mail button, they're going to receive that specific template. Or you can do allow me to choose while sending. This gives you the ability to choose up to 3 different email templates. You can choose live on the fly which one you want that person to receive. Or you can initiate a series of follow-up emails, or what we like to call a drip email. These are emails that go out automatically over time after you initiate the first email. And we've also built in a bit of automation where you can automatically send an email upon dropping a pre-recorded voicemail. The last thing that you're going to do to create your campaign is you're going to map your data. Over here in the right-hand column is the information that you uploaded from your Excel CSV file. In the left-hand column is what's going to show up when you actually talk to somebody. And all you have to do is click, drag, and drop from the right to the left-hand side, whatever it is that you want to show up. If you don't need it, don't drag it over. No reason to complicate things. And if you have custom fields that we do not, come down here to the bottom left-hand corner and click Add More Custom Fields. If you need their height and weight, you need their home value, maybe you're doing some B2B work, you need their sales volume, whatever it is, you can personalize this to their business or your business, and of course then you'll hit Finish and that campaign will be created. What's important to remember here is that you can only do the mapping process once, just so you know. Everything else above the line here, the fold line, you can edit this on the fly, which we're actually going to talk about in just a few seconds. So you can only do the mapping process once at the beginning. So if you think you might need it, go ahead and map that piece of data. Now, another tip that I want to tell you, before you start calling a campaign, I think it's always a good idea to go to that campaign and click the Edit button. Come in here, take just a few seconds, make sure you have the right recordings that you want, the correct gender, male or female, auto pause on or off, if you want to send emails or not. Just come in here, give it a quick look, and then hit Update. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make some live calls. When I make live phone calls, essentially, I'm just playing dumb or asking for fictitious names or places, or just telling them I have the wrong number. I'm just trying to get on and off the phone quickly so you can see how it works. Now what you're looking at here is a 3-line calling campaign where you can see the 3 different boxes, where you're going to see a status of the call, a name, and a phone number. You're also going to see our FTC compliance meter that monitors the FTC abandonment rate, which is 3%. We've converted that 3% to a number that's more easily measurable, which is 100%. So if you see the 0 climbing up higher and higher, 70, 80, 90%, that means you need to slow down your calling campaign from 4 lines per hour to 3 lines, or 3 lines per hour to 2 lines. And this doesn't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong. We all have different scripts, shorter or longer. It could be the number of rings. It could be how many lines you're dialing. This is a gauge, okay? So if you reach 100%, just understand that the dialer is not going to shut down. You're not going to get reported to the FTC or FCC. This is a gauge to help guide you. So you want to pay attention to it and slow down if you need to. When it's approaching over 50%, you need to try to pay attention to it and adjust accordingly. So we're going to go ahead and make some live phone calls. I'll talk to you while I'm talking to them, and let's see who picks up the phone. Time zone restricted on 1. Yeah, can I speak to Tommy Staten, please?
To whom?
Tommy Staten?
You must have the wrong number.
Ma'am, I'm so sorry to bother you. Thank you.
It's okay, bye.
Bye-bye. 3's on hold. Calling 1. Notice we heard her say hello. You're going to hear that first hello. Oh, they hung up. No answer on 1. Dialing 2 and 3. Must be a call forwarding. Let's see if they...
Good morning, Realty Executive.
Oh, good morning. Ma'am, I have no clue how I did it. I actually dialed the wrong number. I'm so sorry to bother you. So I hang up on her. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Thank you for calling Remax Home Masters.
Oh, yes. Could I speak to Tommy Staten, please?
Yes, sir. You've actually reached the service. The office opens today at 9 o'clock.
Oh, I tell you what, I beg your pardon. I'll go ahead and call back a little bit later. I appreciate your time.
Not a problem. Thank you for your call.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And now the campaign is going to pause. Now, let me explain to you what's going on here, because we had actually multiple different dispositions here. We had time zone restricted. We had on holds, no answers, talked. Let me explain to you how the dialer works. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to follow the mouse like you'd follow the bouncing ball. If I'm talking to Benneth on 1 and Steve and Audrey pick up on 2 and 3, Steve and Audrey are going to hear the on-hold message. Now, if I finish with Benneth while Steve and Audrey are on hold, I'll be transferred into the middle of that on-hold call, and I'll just start talking to them. We actually saw that happen twice. I actually heard them hang up. Those on-hold messages kept them on the phone for a few moments. Now, on the other side of the coin, if I'm on the phone with Benneth for a really long time and Steve and Audrey hang up the phone, the dialer will pause dialing. It's just not going to keep on dialing numbers if it senses that I'm on the phone. Now, what it will do is eventually when I get off the phone with Benneth, it will redial Steve and Audrey before it dials any new phone numbers, because it doesn't want me to have any missed opportunities. So the dialer is intuitive in how it handles those calls. Of course, you can see our abandonment rate up here, 14%, pretty good. And you'll notice, if you saw when we were making phone calls, there were 2 buttons that showed up underneath each box. One was a hang-up button, and the other was a play recording button. So there are your options there that we discussed earlier. So every time a live person picks up the phone, a customer window opens up like what you see here, where all the information for your Excel CSV file will show up, where you can click and edit on the fly. You can edit their name. You can type in notes. And you can disposition with one of our disposition buttons that you see here, which you can also customize. Anytime you click a disposition button, the system will time and date stamp accordingly. And the buttons that we have are call back, meaning maybe you don't want to leave a voicemail, you just want to hang up and call them back later. Got lead, meaning they are a hot, warm, or cold lead. Do not call, meaning they're not interested, they'll be removed from the campaign. Send mail, meaning email. You'll type in their email address and hit send, and they'll receive whatever email template you've attached to that campaign. Or it will auto-populate the email, but it's always a good idea to verify that email. You can schedule a phone call or an appointment using the calendar feature, where you'll plug in a date, a time, and a location if need be. And you can click the Got Sale button and plug in a monthly or annualized premium or lump sum amount. Now, I do want to make a distinction between scheduling a phone call and scheduling an appointment on how these buttons work, okay? If I'm talking to you and I ask you to call me Thursday at 3 o'clock and you schedule me as a phone call, well, let's just say tomorrow you call that same campaign that I am included in. It will actually call me before Thursday, okay? Maybe you don't want this to happen. So then what you'll do is you'll schedule me as an appointment. And under no circumstances will it call me before Thursday. So a lot of people like to use the appointment button, whether it's a face-to-face appointment or it's a phone call appointment, where in the location, instead of typing in an address, you can actually just type in phone call, okay? So I'm going to disposition these calls real quick. We had, what, 4 people on the line? And one thing that I want to point out is with the dialer, and frankly I hear this quite frequently, at least once a week, and I've used a lot of different dialers when I sold insurance, you're going to have a short learning curve, okay? We hear quite frequently how easy the dialer is to use, and this is important because whether you're making your calls yourself or you're hiring somebody to do so, you're going to get up to speed quicker and start generating those leads, appointments, and sales quicker. Let's go to the next module, which is contacts and leads. View contacts and view leads is where you manage and edit your contacts and your leads. You can search them. You can even make phone calls from here as well. These 2 modules look very similar. We're going to spend a little bit of time in each. Let's go to view contacts. So here you can search using a specific campaign, a previous day and time that campaign was called in the past, a specific disposition. When I used to sell insurance, I would categorize my leads into hot, warm, and cold leads. Essentially, with these drop-down menus, you can create custom campaigns on the fly. We also have other search options where you can search by a part of a name, phone number, email address, zip code, or location. At the top, you can print this information out, or you can export this information back out of the dialer the same way you brought it into the dialer via a CSV file. CSV files, they're like a universal file format. Lead vendors use them, list vendors use them, CRMs use them, programs, Microsoft Outlook, ACT. This gives you mobility with your data. Down below, we have all of our hot leads where I can click the edit button and I can edit any of that lead information. I can click details for more information, a snapshot, or I can call these names one at a time using the green click to call telephone because I feel they need additional time. Or if I want to run through them pretty quick, I can just come up here and hit the start button. And of course, we also have the ability to send these leads to a select service providers for CRMs, and we handle that on a case-by-case basis. Let's go to View Leads. You'll notice this is very similar. I'm going to pull up the same search, pull up those hot leads, same search options. You have the ability to print. Of course, you have the ability to export. You can also add leads on the fly. Maybe you get a couple of leads, a couple of referrals. You don't want to go through the process of creating a spreadsheet and a campaign. You can add them right then and there. Down below, you have the ability to edit. You can delete that lead. You can scroll down through the activity log to see the history of contact or notes. There's the Details tab. Click the Call feature, auto dialing, just like before. And here, you also have the ability to email those leads. If I could type today, it doesn't appear so. You can send it to multiple emails separated by commas. And of course, like I said before, on a case-by-case basis, we actually can arrange to have these sent to different lead or CRM providers. Let's go to the next module, which is reports, calling reports. Earlier, I mentioned you had the ability to record phone conversations. Well, this is where you'd find them. Use the drop-down menus that you see here to find those recordings. I've got some recordings in here. I'm going to find those real quick. Here we go. So beside each name, you're going to see a play and a download button. Self-explanatory, not a whole lot to it. Of course, you still have the click-to-call feature as well. Next module, campaign statistics. This is a report that I run several times throughout the day. You can run this report for a specific campaign, a previous day and time that campaign was called in the past, a specific date range. We'll go back here to March, current day, hit close. If you have multiple dialer accounts underneath your manager account, you can run this for those specific agent accounts or all of them using the manager account. You can run this in real time remotely anytime you want. You can use it for timesheets, performance evaluations. For example, you can see this person spent 1 hour and 7 minutes talking on the phone. During that time, they dropped 7 answering machine recordings, dialed 323 people, generated 23 leads. If you were to hand dial 323 people, it would take you approximately 11 hours, give or take a little bit. We did it in 1 hour and 7 minutes. I'd rather have my fingernails pulled out with pliers than go back to hand dialing. I've done it. I don't want to do it anymore. The efficiencies of a dialer alone are worth their weight in gold. But if you get all the other features, like the CRM, the safeguards, the emailing, the call recording, that's just icing on the cake. And a dialer won't make dialing fun. Of course, we've had some customers say it's fun using the dialer. But what it does is it takes out all of that wasted time, all those laborious tasks associated with hand dialing. Because instead of hand dialing 25 to 35 numbers an hour, you're dialing hundreds of people per hour. Let's go to the next module, email campaigns, email blasts. Very easy to send an email blast in our system. All you have to do is click New Email Blast. Select the email template that you would like everybody to receive. Select the campaign that you would like to pull those email addresses from, because remember, campaigns have all of our contact information. A previous run, if need be, or you can send this to all your leads, callbacks, or just send it to everybody and hit Start and let that email blast go out. The important thing about the dialer is you can do what I used to do when I sold insurance. You can upload your existing customers and call and email them efficiently. You can wish them happy holidays. You can tell them about new products. You can ask for referrals. So not only can you build a new book of business, you can build off of your existing book of business. Next module, drip email. Drip email is a series of emails that go out automatically over time. It is a schedule. So essentially you are creating a schedule, and you are attaching that schedule to a campaign where you're going to tell the dialer the first time you hit that send email button, you want that person to receive this email template. Then automatically after 4 days, you want them to receive this one. And then after 9 days, a different template. And you can just keep going on and on and on, and you can send 8 emails over the course of 30 days. What's important to remember here, you might want to write this down, is this is 4 days after the original email, 9 days after the original email. It's always after the original email. This is a feature we get a lot of good feedback on, so I hope that you'll be able to use it. Next module, lead vendors. We've partnered with several internet lead vendors where we can arrange to have your leads loaded into your dialer automatically in real time for you. This is going to give the ability to contact these leads quicker and track them from cradle to grave. If you don't see your lead vendor here, let us know. We could certainly bring them on board. You will get an audio and visual notification that you have leads. You'll come up here to the real-time lead alert tab. You can see I have 4 new leads. These are test leads I've had dumped into the dialer. Yours might show 1 lead, might show 23 leads. You'll click it, and you will have the ability to add that lead and create a new campaign or add it to an existing campaign, where you will simply choose the campaign and then click Add to Campaign, of which you might be asked to do the mapping process again if those fields are not included in that campaign, or it will simply just add those leads directly. Okay? So it's a simple screen to navigate, not a whole lot to it. Those are the lead vendors. We also have the ability to do exports to, again, certain CRMs. We handle that on a case-by-case basis through the different modules you see below here. Next module, preferences. Email SMTP. You'll actually initiate this through the manager account. There's a separate tutorial on that. What you'll do is you'll select that particular email that you've created in the manager account and map it and complete it. Email templates. This is where you manage and edit your email templates. Simple screen. Delete, edit, and preview your templates. Let's talk about creating a template. Click here, and you will name your template. Type your subject line. You can upload an attachment if you like, up to 1 megabyte. And down below, very common fields here, just like you might see in Microsoft Outlook. You can personalize that email with that person's specific name if you want, as long as you have that information in your Excel CSV file. You can use specific formatting, like you might see in Word, paragraph, heading. You can choose font, size. Of course, down below, you can bold, italicize, underline, justify left, center, or right. You can add a rule if you want. You can do bullet points. Oh, let me justify left. You can do numbers. You can indent left. You can indent right, move it back and forth. Text color, background color. You can do hyperlinks. Let's just say, for example, that you want to include a hyperlink right here. Now, with the hyperlink, essentially, you're inserting your website address, and then the copy that they will click, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be click here, and then you'll click Insert Link. It'll be fairly obvious that there's a link there because it'll say click here. It'll be underlined in a different color. You can also upload images. Now, keep in mind, these images need to be hosted on the Internet. For example, here's a Google search for dogs. I can right-click this image, click Copy Image URL. Then I will come back to the dialer and click Add Image, paste the URL, and hit OK, and voila, there's my picture. You can also include special characters. You can see there. It'll include those characters. And you can also include tables like Excel, where you can choose columns, different characteristics, and hit Insert Table, and it will insert that table. You can also literally just copy and paste pictures, words, and graphics into the body here and create some really nice email templates. Then, of course, you'll hit Save, and that email will show up in List Templates, which is where we're at right now. Next module, recordings. This is where you manage and edit all of your recordings. So here you have the ability to play, delete, edit. When you edit, you can either change the name or choose a different file for that recording name. And, of course, you can also download that recording, training purposes, audio application, whichever it might be. Then if you want to upload a recording, there's a separate tutorial on that. You'll click Add Recording. You'll save that as a WAV file format, WAV. You'll name it. You'll hit Save, and, of course, it will be saved in your recordings library. Next module, Date and Time. This is where you set your date, time zone, format preferences. Not a whole lot there. Pretty cut and dry. And then lastly, let's go over alerts and reminders. Up here in the top right-hand corner, this is the hub for all your appointment reminders, callback reminders, and email notifications. You get instant audio and visual notifications for appointment and callback reminders, specifically with emails. When somebody opens up one of your emails, you get an instant real-time notification that they have opened up your email and they're looking at it right now. You can click and call this person right then and there. let me tell you why this is important. Your prospects, they have full-time jobs. They're full-time parents. They have hobbies, errands, friends, things they're doing. They're not sitting around waiting on your call, okay? This plain and simply gives you the ability to strike while the iron's hot. This is a feature we get a lot of good feedback on. Now, that concludes the training session. I want to wrap up with a couple things, and then, of course, a live trainer is going to come on the phone. Let me reiterate that 4-step calling process. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to log into your agent dialer account. It's going to bring you here. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to go to Calling Campaigns, click List Campaigns, and you're going to find your particular campaign. The third thing you're going to do is you're going to call into the phone servers using either one, your DID number, which you can call from any phone, including soft phones. And you can use your soft phone, or you can use our soft phone. We have a couple of them that we use. And then the fourth thing you're going to do is you're going to click the play or resume button. Now, there is one thing that I want to point out here, because I want to wrap up because this is fairly important. I'm going to go into a campaign and touch on this. When you're making phone calls, now, of course, you see a stop and a resume button here. When you're making phone calls, this is going to turn into a stop and a pause button. The important thing to remember here, and again, you want to write this down, is when you want to stop making phone calls, whether it's for 5 minutes to go get a bottled water, or it's for 5 days, 5 weeks, or 5 months, you always want to hit the pause button, okay? What this does is it enables you to pick up calling from where you left off. If you hit the stop button, it's going to go back to the beginning. Think of it as if you're watching a movie. If you hit the pause button, go make your popcorn, come back, hit play again, pick up from where you left off. If you hit stop, it's going to go back to the beginning. You don't want to do that. So it's important to remember that. It will stay in perpetual pause mode, that campaign. Okay, so make sure you hit that pause button. So let's go over a couple of support options. Let's go to our website. Of course, you have the chat support. You have the phone support. Here's our website. A lot of different tabs here, but for training purposes, we have a sales blog, a lot of interesting articles on there, sales tips. We have our help desk, where you can open a ticket, you can check ticket status. Here are our support hours, business hours, live phone hours, phone support hours, and live chat support hours. Down below, a lot of different tips. You can click on the appropriate tip, and it will take you to the appropriate section. We have tutorials right here under video tutorials. Of course, we're always adding to that, video tutorials. Support, somewhat similar. Open a ticket, check ticket status, and our support hours and other training and support options. So you can call us, you can live chat with us, you can email us anytime you want. We want to do anything we can to make you successful on the dialer. What I would encourage you to do, something that might be helpful, is go in there and play with the dialer, poke around a little bit. And you can't do too much damage. Click the buttons, see what they do. And an additional thing that you might want to do is create a calling campaign, maybe with family and friends, just so you can get acclimated to the dialer. Not a bad idea. We've had some people do that. So on that note, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can attend more than one training session, attend as many as you want. All the ongoing training support you need is free. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring a live trainer on the line. I want to thank everybody for your time. We appreciate you considering us and using us. We're going to do anything we can to make you successful, be it with telesales training, scripts, or any of our dialer products. So I hope the rest of your day goes well, and hold for a live agent. Thank you.